Sorry, I'm recording. I was trying to find my record button. Everything's all weird on my screen, but this has really been kind of a silver lining of COVID. I know we've all tried to find those as we've gone along because 2020 was such a weird year. And as we were talking about Monday night with our soccer officials, I'm not sure if 2021 is off to much of a better start, but we'll hope that we can right the ship and start making some positive strides. So the purpose of the meeting tonight is really for those of you who are returning veteran officials, it's a refresher. For those of you who are newer, this might be information that you do not know. So it's really to go over kind of the structure of the NMOA, the Constitution, and then Nate will talk a little bit about the technology side of the NMOA with regard to Arbiter and where as officials you can find different information on our website. So we'll run through this. You know, we did this with volleyball, we've done it with basketball and soccer, and there was information that I thought for sure all of our veteran officials knew, and they didn't. So hopefully everybody will get something out of this. One thing I do want to remind or tell all the officials is the Albuquerque Football Officials Association has opened up their future veterans training for first through third year officials across the state. Those will take place on Wednesday nights immediately following this meeting, but that will start next week. So I apologize, in my previous email I had said they would start this week, but I was wrong. They will start next week, and I'll be sending out the link to those to all officials, and that way we can make sure that all of our first through third year officials get that information.
And so they will get, you also will get credit as a new official for both meetings.
There you go.
Correct? Did we decide on that?
Yes.
Sorry, I think I just, I jumped the gun, but yeah. If you're gonna, you know, so you'd be able to, if you just want to go to future vets, if this is over the top, you can, and you'll get credit for that, or you can attend this meeting.
If you've done both, that's great too. So,
yeah, exactly.
The more the better. Keep us all educated. So we'll go ahead and jump into this. So welcome again. This is the agenda for tonight, and really what we'll do is just run through some introductions, go over an overview, excuse me, of the NMAA and NMOA, the Constitution. We'll talk a little bit about officiating this year and how some of that's going to look. We're given the green light to have games. Talk about the online meeting system, which you're pretty much doing right now, as well as the Arbiter and some of the components. So the new meeting format is this. One of the things that you'll notice is every week you're going to get an email from me that has the meeting information for the following week. The reason you have to do that registration process every week is so that we can keep attendance. The great thing about this online meeting format is the fact that your group leaders won't have to submit the meeting count at the end of the year, because Nate will be tracking that throughout the season. You will see that each week you'll receive an email from Nate that'll show your meeting count. So if something happens and you get the meeting count from Nate and you're like, wait a second, I was on the meeting last night, just shoot him an email and let him know. There is a lot of record maintenance going on, and if he skips a line on a spreadsheet like I've been known to do, at least he can make that adjustment. But the sooner you let him know, the better. At the end of the year is not the time to say, I think I missed meeting number 3. It would be that same week. So our staff in the NMAA that you would probably need to work with the most would be myself and Nate for NMOA related questions, and then Dusty Young is our director of football for the NMAA. He would be the person that you contact with any kind of football rules interpretations, questions about NMAA specific items as they relate to football. So a lot of times people ask us questions about game limitations or other eligibility type things. Those would all be Dusty questions, and less so Nate and myself. Our varsity regional assigners in the sport of football are Ken Murphy in the Central region, Stephen Otagon in the Northeast region, Leonard Longhorn in the Northwest region, David Briseno in the Southeast region, and Mike Rundell in the Southwest region. So if you don't know who your assigner is, that would be them. And then our group leaders within each of those regions, we have a number of groups. The only area where we only have one association would be in the Central region. It's the Albuquerque group. And the group leader directory is available on our website, or if you need that, you can shoot me an email and I'll get that to you if you don't know who your group leader is. So within the NMAA and NMOA, what does each entity do? So the NMAA is the organization under which the NMOA falls under their umbrella. So the NMAA is the regulatory agency for high school sports and activities in the state of New Mexico. They oversee all of the eligibility requirements and competition requirements for student athletes here in the state. We follow rules from the National Federation of State High School Associations, which is headquartered in Indianapolis, Indiana. Our executive director is Sally Marquez, so she would be the individual who oversees kind of all of us. So while the NMOA is part of the NMAA, she's the executive director of the whole shebang. The NMOA, of course, is a membership-led organization. We do have our own set of constitution and bylaws. All of that is voted on by the New Mexico Officials Association membership. So a lot of times people will think that that document is the Dana and Nate document and we made everything up. It's no different than as officials, you have a rule book that you have to enforce. The Constitution would be the rule book that Nate and I have to enforce when it comes to officials in our state. Again, at the NMAA, we have a 13-member staff and we have directors of different sports. We have Nate and myself in the officiating world. We have a business manager, we have a corporate development person, a sports information director. Really, your points of contact will mainly be myself and Nate and Dusty. If you have questions about your registration or your rule books or your rating, that would be a Nate question. We have officials that feel it is completely appropriate if they haven't received their rule books to contact Sally directly. Sally is the executive director, and as much as she's always available to help, I'm pretty sure she doesn't need to track down your rule book. So if you don't hear from Nate or you can't get a hold of him, get a hold of me. If we've both left the country for some reason, you can, then go to Sally or Dusty, but she should not be your first point of contact if you're missing material or you have a question about your rating. I usually deal more with some of the stuff that's in the Constitution in terms of any kind of disciplinary action with officials. Basically I oversee the educational aspect of it with Nate, absolutely involved in that every day, and we really work as a team. So most of what I know, Nate can help you with and vice versa. So we're definitely a team in all that we do. And again, if you have a rules interpretation question, that's for Dusty. If you don't know how to get a hold of him, send it to us and we'll get it to him for you. So the NMOA Constitution is a document that you all should familiarize yourselves with. That can be found on the NMOA Central Hub under the Important Documents section. So when you look at that, when you go to the NMOA Central Hub, and Nate's going to show you this, you should all be familiar with the screen that he's showing you. And he's going to kind of point to where that is. I know some of you won't be able to see the text, but this will at least give you an idea of where on the Central Hub it is. So the Constitution is broken into 3 parts. The first portion is the Constitution, and that's just a very short item, and it talks about the executive board membership, meetings, standing committees, and basically the overall structure of the association. The second section is the bylaws section, and that gets a little bit more into detail about standing committees or sport committees, the definitions of the different memberships. It has our code of ethics, our series of fines and sanctions. So it gets a little bit more involved, talks about dues, due dates, all of that stuff. And then the last section is really the section that most officials have questions about. And what that section is the advancement and certification criteria. So what that is all of the information about how many meetings you have to attend each year, how many games you have to call, your test scores, camps, clinics, all of that good stuff. So that is all contained in that section. So what we always try to stress to our officials is this is membership led. So it's important that you are familiar with this Constitution, which Nate right now has the football section up for you. It's important that you're familiar with the Constitution and bylaws, so that way if there's something in it that doesn't make sense, if there's something in it that is officials you just don't like and you want to make a change to, you all have the absolute right to write up a proposal and send that on to the executive board. The NMOA Executive Board is a 13-person board. There is one representative per each sport, president, a vice president, a supervisory committee representative, and a representative from the Coaches Association. So those are the individuals who make the decisions with regard to the Constitution and bylaws, any kind of things with officials' uniform standards. They're very active in helping look at policies and procedures that affect officials, as well as the fee schedule. So a lot of that stuff starts with the officials, and then if it's something that's just in the Constitution, that can be passed by officials only. But there's other items that would actually be an NMAA board and commission decision, and that would really be anything financial in terms of officials' raises. We have a proposal right now in the sport of football where we're looking to require football coaches to submit film to our office for officiating purposes. That does have to go, started with the executive board, passed, and now it's got to go through the process of the NMAA commission and board with some help from the NMAA sport specific committee. So there's a lot of different steps, but as officials, it's super important that you're familiar with that Constitution and bylaws, and that you know that this association is yours and you have the power to make changes. So for this year, officiating in 2021, obviously the first major change that you'll see are the virtual meetings. And the reason that we're doing this is regardless of what happens with the health orders and social distancing and all of that, we already started the season in virtual meetings, or the school year in virtual meetings. So we're going to stay in that fashion. Volleyball actually completed their season of virtual meetings, and that was because the season got canceled as they were already in progress, but we just decided we were going to continue on, and we'll have a couple of refreshers with them. Regardless of what happens this season in terms of if we have football or not, we'll continue on with the meetings as scheduled. So we just want to keep you all engaged, get you some information. As you saw in the schedule sent out, we're hosting tonight, and then each region will actually host a meeting where they talk about a topic of their choosing, and different people from their region will do those presentations. And then of course we have the district clinic, which will be for coaches and officials. With regard to working games this year, obviously everybody has to wear a mask, and that's something that we can't do anything about. It's a governor order. It's not anything that our office really has any control over. The only requirement is that that mask is black, no logo, because it would be hard if you lost a logoed mask to run to Walgreens and buy one. But if it's solid black, the chances are you could probably find one at a store somewhere.
And obviously, if it has a manufacturer logo, that's not an issue.
That's fine. So if you've got a Nike mask or Under Armour, or if you're me and you're a Puma loyalist, it would have a Puma one. As long as that logo doesn't take up the entire mask, that's the only thing we don't want to see. So if you've got a black mask and across the front it says Nike, that is not what we want. But if it's got a little one on the side, that's not an issue at all. For whistles, you have the option as far as what you want to use. So like in volleyball, we required an electronic whistle because it makes sense for that sport. In football, there's some concern about the sound, if it's loud enough for a football field. However, if you find one that's loud and it's more comfortable for you to have an electronic whistle in your hand with a mask on, totally up to you. We just want our officials to be comfortable in what is kind of an uncomfortable situation. So you could do the electronic whistle with a mask, or you could do a mask with a whistle in a whistle pouch, which I'm going to defer to Nate because he actually uses them and can talk about what those are better than I.
Yep. So I have two different masks that I use in the other sport. And one is called a shock doctor, and that actually was made for football players. So it has a layer and it actually comes apart, and you can actually put your whistle in during play. The only requirement for us when we're wearing that is that we use a whistle pouch. The mask that I like to use is the Under Armour mask because it sits off your face. And I just put my whistle directly under it. And that is probably, yes, my mask comes off a little bit and it moves around a little bit. The only downside to that one is when you blow your whistle, you spit it out, it just stays in pretty much on your chin. Then you kind of finagle it back into your mouth through the mask. But other than that, that one is the most comfortable for me. And it's the loudest because I don't use the whistle pouch as long as my mask is over that over the whistle. So, but there's a ton of different things out there. Just find a mask that's really comfortable for you. Are Gators approved? I don't know. I don't believe so. I think that was part of the and ski mask. If you want to wear a ski mask, go for it. But make sure it's black, and I mean, I don't recommend that, but funny.
You can wear a gator over a mask, but you can't wear a gator by itself. So that's the directive we've been given from the governor's office.
Yep. But again, it's really going to be what's comfortable for you. Try different things. Like I said, I really enjoy the Under Armour mask with a whistle under it. And so.
And if you have questions about that mask, Nate can send you the link to that. So that way you've got an idea of what he's talking about.
So there's going to be some COVID related questions that we don't really have answers to. So if we need to have another meeting with COVID related issues, we'll definitely host that with Sally on. So.
And as of right now, the COVID vaccine will not be required of officials. That could change. So right now, COVID vaccine, COVID testing, none of those have been required for officials as of right now. And we will keep you apprised as we hear differently, because as you all are aware, things change with the wind. So we'll keep you as apprised as we can. So increased communication by and with all parties. You'll be hearing a lot more from us. I know you guys probably get sick of seeing all of the emails from me, but now you'll probably get more. It is important that you read those because everything is ever changing. So just make sure when you get emails from us, you pay attention to what they say from the standpoint of staying informed. Your game assignments, the way this is going to work, if we're given the green light to play, the football practice will start on February 1st, with the first games taking place right around the 19th. Our office is actually doing the scheduling for varsity, and we'll put all of the games in the arbiter for us, our assigners. Assigners who are used to doing the entire schedule at the same time. That will not happen this year. So you'll probably get assignments like 2 weeks at a time, and the reason for that is twofold. A, the turnaround is very short. B, with the propensity for games to get changed because of COVID, it would just end up being a whole lot of rescheduling. So we'll do our best to keep you informed. We're going to talk to the schools about procedures for if they have to cancel because of a COVID test, to hopefully give officials enough time to not be all the way to a game 3 hours away before they get there, so we can give you notice. So if we'll get a hold of assigners, we'll try to get a hold of entire crews if we can, but we will definitely make sure that we keep everybody as informed as possible with regard to those game changes. Looks like there's a lot going on in the chat.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yep.
So Nate is taking care of some of that, but really just the communication, make sure that you're reading emails and text messages, and if your assigner's calling you, make sure you respond to them, just from the standpoint of they may have information about your game that day. With regard to that communication with your assigner, make sure that you block dates that you know for sure you are not available. That will help them. So if the best thing to do is go in, and Nate will show you how to do that here in a little bit if you don't know how. Block your partner, spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend's birthdays, anniversaries, kids' birthdays, anything like that. Because the worst thing that happens is sometimes when somebody will tell an assigner, oh, I forgot it was my wife's birthday. Now you probably have more problems than just football at that point, but just make sure you take care of that. And if there's times that you can't work, do that ahead of time, because it's easier for an assigner to not assign you because you're not available than to have to go back and deal with that and make reassignments. I believe that's all I've got. So we'll move on to Nate for the technology side of things, and I'll start working on the chat.
All right. All right. So the biggest question that I've gotten in the last couple weeks, and that's from all sports really, is did I register? I can answer that question, no problem, but I really want all of you, especially since I just had a conversation with a mentor of mine that this pandemic has really forced all officials and people in general to figure out technology 10 years earlier than they wanted to. And I want you to be able to go in and not figure it out, but understand that you can actually check your own registration, whether you registered or not. Obviously, this year is a little confusing. You may have registered back in June, and here we are in January, and we still haven't officiated, so you're a little confused. But really, what you want to do is you want to log into your officials your officials. Let me I don't know why all right, so obviously if you are an official, Dana and I obviously have the New Mexico Central Hub. We have two central hubs. One's the central hub and one's the admin. Yours as an official is going to have central hub official. You obviously want to click on the central hub. So if you receive an email from me and it says go to the central hub, it's not a typo. I didn't type central hub twice. That's what I meant. So once you click that, that takes you to our main page. Obviously, this is where our constitution is. This is where uniform standards, any information, mileage charts, everything is all going to be on this right-hand side. That's where the information is. A lot of times Dana gets these emails, hey, what are the uniform standards? Or, what's the mileage from so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. Can you send me the mileage chart? Again, this is information that you can find. And trust me, when you ask Dana, this is where she goes. She logs in, she clicks on the link, she copies and pastes and sends it to you. So again, this is information that you can find. The Constitution, obviously. But to check your registration, did I register? Well, I'm going to go up here to the top and check. I'm going to click on the registration link. And as you can see, Dana and I do use this account to test registration links, everything else. So we've started to test these. If you go to current registrations and you go to football, varsity and sub-varsity 2021, and it's in the current registrations, this means you did not register. Okay. And then you go over to 9 of 10 steps completed. That means you have not completed. If I had to guess, it's probably the payment step on this one. So then if I go and I just start my registration again, I can look at my dependency steps and everything's checked except for payment. So then I can skip through all those. Obviously, we've got that. Dana, I need your credit card real quick.
Absolutely not, but nice try.
Okay.
You almost had me.
All right. So in this situation, if you don't feel comfortable, and there are still people in 2021 that don't feel comfortable, and rightfully so, there's a lot of fraud out there. If you don't feel comfortable, but it is well protected, it is a well protected site. If you don't feel comfortable putting your credit card information, check the checkbox and make your payment. Okay. Once you do that, it'll complete your registration, but it's still going to show that you have, I don't know why it's not letting me now. It's still going to show that you have 9 of 10 steps completed. Okay. What'll happen is, once you mail that check, we receive it in the mail. Obviously, since our office, we've been working from home a lot of the time. that check might take 7 to 10 days before I even get notified that you paid. And from there, the business manager will send me, or she actually puts a slip in my box. Okay, there's no email, there's nothing that comes with that, in a box, and it says that these individuals have paid by check. So if you register by check, you're looking at anywhere from 10 to 14 days before I even know that you paid. If you use the credit card and you hit submit, boom, instantly you're unlocked and you're registered, and your assigner knows that you can receive assignments. That's the benefit of paying online. But again, if you're not comfortable, you can also send me an email saying, hey, I just sent in a check, so that at least I know it's coming and I can keep an eye out for it, or I can ask Sherry if that's going to happen. If you don't see it there, all you need to do is scroll down to completed registrations, and it'll show your completed registrations for the past 5 years, I believe, is how long we've been using the system. 4 years that we've been using the system. Obviously here I've got 2021 soccer sub-varsity completed, 2021 basketball reciprocal. Obviously these were test registrations, but if you just scroll down to completed registrations, it'll show you what you've completed. So if you send me an email that says, hey, have I registered? I'm going to give you the instructions on how to find this, just so that you know for the future. Obviously, it is something that I can look up, but we all are trying to learn and navigate through this system. Testing, okay, right now the football test is open. This is the same place. You go to the New Mexico Central Hub, and you're going to go to testing. Obviously, it looks like I did get a question the other day, do we get 3 attempts? And I was incorrect in my response. It's showing that we only get 1 attempt on this test, okay? And this max attempts here. But these are the open tests. Obviously, you don't have to take volleyball and you don't have to take basketball. All open all NFHS tests in the Central Hub are going to show up. You just need to take the test that pertains to your sport. So if you are a football basketball, you can take football basketball. And so by simply just clicking on take test, for you new officials, you can skip through this one, and now you go question through 1. It is a 50 question test. I will tell you that the questions were pulled from a 100 question test. So Tanner's test is definitely going to be different than Billy and Ridoso. Their tests are going to be completely different. They may have some of the same answers, but they're going to be in different orders. So if you want to buddy up and go over the test, make sure that you know that your test is numbered differently. And even as far as true, false, and this is a federation test, so we're not trying to trick you. But even true or false might be, false might be A and true might be B. So just be careful, because we do have people that will submit a test that says, well, Dana and I did it together and she got 100, yet I got a 30%. Well, because you used her answers and, I used her answers and mine weren't in the same order.
That happens all the time. And then somebody will say, oh, I'm sorry, I took the wrong test. And I'm like, no, you cheated off the wrong test. But that's just a little sidebar for you.
If you fail part 1, you get to take part 2. You can take part 2. And part 2, I believe, will open up as soon as part 1 is closed. So you can retake it and get your credit. Obviously, we're not trying to fail anybody. We want you to succeed. But that is that. Now, if you are an official, and let's go into the football group. All right, and I'm gonna play official roulette. Hold on, are you guys there? Okay, there you are. And Carl Martin is the lucky person. So I'm going to act as Carl Martin. When you log into your arbiter and you go to that NMAA football group right here, this 103, 102 group, some of you are multi-sport officials. You're going to have different groups. Anytime you want to go from group to group, you hit this arrow and you select your group. Obviously, Dana and I are admins, so we have every account in the state. You would just have the sports that you participate in. And if you are a collegiate official or you work in Texas and you use the arbiter, you're going to have all those same accounts. We don't have access to it, but you do. So obviously, once you log into your football account, this is what your home screen is going to look like. Okay. For you veteran officials, you understand that when you get an email that says you have new game assignments from group 103, 102, NMAA football group. And so the first thing we do is we get our phones or we get it on our computer when we want to know what our assignment is. We log in, right? So once you log in, you go to schedule. Murphy, you're slacking. You haven't done anything. Carl doesn't have any assignments. I'm kidding, Murphy. No games, right? So when there is a game, it'll show the game number. It'll have the position that official is going to work, but it'll be highlighted in yellow. And on the far right, it's going to say either accept or decline. Okay. If you receive that assignment, I would imagine that you're just going to hit the checkbox and say accept, because really the only reason you should decline a game is if an emergency comes up. But if you properly use your blocks, and I'm going to show you that here in a second, there's no reason you should ever decline a game. I know that we have officials that don't like an assignment, or they don't, oh, you know what, I don't want to travel, or I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. Well, then they hit the decline. It's up to you. You're an independent contractor. You can work whatever game you want, but I'm telling you, and I speak for the assigners, Murphy's talked about it, Rundell's talked about it, Briseño's talked about it. The people that are available are going to work a lot more and better games. I mean, and I think that's just what happens with assignments. But block your dates. An assigner can't get mad if you block your dates properly. So again, we're going to use this tab and we're going to hit blocks. When I go to blocks, this is the screen that pops up. I know that my birthday is on September 14th. And so I know that my family wants to take me out to dinner every year. I'm going to block that date. Okay. I know that, January 11th is my spouse's birthday, or it's our anniversary. I'm going to block that date. Those are hard, concrete dates that you're going to block. If you have a work conflict, obviously Tuesdays, I work till 8 p.m. on Tuesdays. In fact, let me go back. If you've got a single day block, right? So for example, Carl Martin, you know what? I can't work on Sundays. Obviously, we don't play games on Sundays, so I'm going to go ahead and test this out. I'm going to go over here and click block all day. Okay, and I can't work on the 10th because, I've got work. So all I'm going to do is click block all day and go the 10th, and now I'm blocked, and that shows in red. Or, hey, I can't get off of work before 5 o'clock, so I'm going to do a block part day, and actually it's going to be the same day, 10th. Now I need to delete my 10th, and now it becomes a partial block, right? Obviously it's blocked from 8 to 5. If I need to adjust that time, I can go 3. I want to delete that block date. Now it's going to be 8 to 3. And it's showing right here, or 3:30, 8 a.m. to 3:30 I'm blocked. Okay. If you know that you can't work every Sunday, okay, you can do a block all day from January 3rd. Can you guys see the sub box? I don't think you can, right? Because I'm screen sharing. So you notice that I put 1/3/21 and then.
Hey, Nate, are you full screen on yours, on your share?
Yeah.
Because it does not full screen. You can't read it.
Is that better? You might want to zoom into your screen. Yeah, sorry, I've got a 40-inch screen in front of me, so I
can see it fine on my tiny screen, Nate.
okay. So then on the 31st, I'm gonna go and 131. Okay, so now I've got my partial days, and I'm going to apply that filter. I've got a block all day from 1/3 to 131, only on Sundays. And I'm going to apply, and it's going to block all those. You know what? I want to add Mondays to that. Boom, it's going to add Mondays only from that date range. Okay, so obviously I can clear blocks by individually. Something opens up, I can go ahead and clear blocks over here and clear that block. And now everything's cleared. So Carl Martin is available to work. Obviously, if you know we also do have officials that have gotten pretty clever, and they think that if I block till 5 o'clock, that means I don't have to leave the metro area, because the arbiter is smart and it won't allow the assigner to send me out of town because I'm not available before 5 o'clock. Well, our assigners get pretty are smart. They're actually smarter than the arbiter, I'll tell you that. And usually they just don't assign you. If you're not available after 5, they're not going to assign you. And really, I give the same spiel, but football really isn't an issue because all of you are used to traveling. That is part of the sport of football. There is no in-town games, really. I mean, the best games are probably out of town. So I don't think any of the football officials have an issue with traveling, but it does happen, and I do have to give that spiel. Are there any questions about blocking dates?
There are in the chat, I'm sorry. So the first one, which I don't know if I'm understanding from Ben Minus, can I see on this page if I'm paid up? I don't think on that page, correct, Nate?
No, you can't, Ben. You'll have to log into your account and go follow the steps that I had explained.
And then how do they get to this screen that you're presenting now? Can you go back to that?
How do you get to where?
The screen that you're showing right now.
Oh, yeah. So, like I said, if you go into, for example, if I go into the volleyball group and I go into, sorry, Carl Martin is a volleyball official. So let me, I'm in mine. Okay, so obviously if you want to go to your NMOA football group, and if you are, for example, I'll go with Abney since he's the first one. Again, you would go to the blocks here on the top. And that's how you get to that screen. Any others, Dana?
I don't see any. There is a question about how, I've answered it, but just for the purposes of the recording, how does an official review their test? So before I have Nate show you that, there was a lot of questions about the testing date and a little bit of confusion. So that football exam opened on January 8th. It's going to be due on March 1st. So the way that it works is you can't review that exam until after that deadline. So it'll be open for review on March 2nd. And that way you'll be able to see which ones you missed and all of that. So Nate can show you where you can see your, where you can review.
Right. Okay. And so again, and I don't know if once this test closes, you can go in and review. We don't have access to that for whatever reason because we don't take the test in this account. And so, but that's where you would go. You would go to your completed test, and to the far right, there are a couple of officials I know that have contacted me, and for whatever reason, we can't get them access to review. And we've tried year after year, and I don't, arbiters try to figure it out, and they just haven't been able to get it done. But if you can't review right here on a completed test, shoot me an email and we can try to get you access. It's a glitch that happens to, I think, 0.01% of our officials. And I know there's one or two people that have contacted me over the last 4 years that haven't been able to, but we'll continue to work on it. Are there any other questions?
There is one more. Can we block a date due to work, but see if a game is closer and get with the assigner about doing the game due to distance? So if doing a game that's closer and available. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. And we recommend that. And I think the assigners would appreciate that, especially in the shortage that we have in the sport of football. If you are blocked and you call David Briseno and say, hey, I'm blocked, but I can get off at 4 if you need me at 6 o'clock on this date. Trust me, I'm sure that he'd be willing to try to use you any way that he can just to fill games. But again, communication is key. I know that we do have reciprocal officials, people that work in Texas or Colorado or Arizona, and something that we run into quite a bit is officials that will hang on to an assignment in New Mexico, or they probably do it in Texas too, and find out what game's going to be better, and then they accept the better game and then decline the day before, 2 days before. We see that all the time. And again, if you just communicate, if that's what you're going to do, then communicate with your assigner and say, you know what, I'm waiting to see what my schedule looks like in Colorado. Is that okay? Then let your assigner say, yeah, no problem. Or, you know what, I can fill the game. I'm going to go ahead and fill it. If you are available, if you turn out to be available, then I'll work you. But so just communicate with your assigner. Don't play assigners really don't have fun doing that. And trust me, they already have a tough enough time filling games. So work with them and communicate with them.
And there's nothing else in the chat, Nate.
All right. I think that's all I have.
That's actually pretty much all that we have. So let's go ahead and open it up to questions. There is one in the chat. I saw yesterday that the Arizona Activities Association voted to bring back football after canceling it earlier. Is their association's power different than the NMAA as far as the relationship to state government and making decisions about seasons? So the answer to that is their governor never gave any kind of a mandate, whereas ours did. So the Arizona Activities Association, it was their board of directors who had initially made the decision to cancel. And then they made the decision to cancel on Friday, and then they changed their vote yesterday. So the only reason why they've been able to do that is because their governor hasn't put any kind of a mandate in terms of what they should be doing. So in ours, it's different because the governor has made the decision and we can't go against the public health order. So that's really why we are where we are right now. If you don't work, hang on just a second. Let me get this chat real quick and then we'll get to you. Hang on just a minute. If we don't work this year, will our rating be affected for next year? Absolutely not. Your rating will stay where it is. There's no penalty. And one of the things that we're doing this year is we're being a little more lenient in terms of a all the requirements just because we know it's a condensed season, it's an off year, so you may not be able to fulfill all of the stuff in the Constitution. So if we see that you've done every meeting, you've done your clinic, you've done your test, you've done everything else, but you're just short on games, you're going to be fine. So we'll look at all of that and take it into consideration. Who was about to ask me something?
This is Anthony Parra.
Hello.
Hello. I was just wondering, so if an official gets COVID, how long do they have to be out?
That would be a Sally question. So anything that's that specific with COVID, we need to defer to Sally. If you have COVID questions, email them to me and I will get them to her, and then I can send something out. So I'm seeing a lot of questions about splitting mileage, traveling as a crew, all of that stuff. That will come out from Sally. There's a meeting going on with the governor tomorrow where we're going to have more information. Along those lines, Dusty and Sally have already put together competition deadline or guidelines for the sport of football. And if we get a green light, we'll send you all that information about COVID practices and policies for games this year. So anything COVID related, please email me because we're not to answer those questions unless they're pretty super basic. So, and again, the question about the coaches with the mask, that will come out in the competition. Anything COVID related, let's not talk about those. Just shoot me an email and I'll get those to Sally because we don't have those answers for you tonight.
Hey, Dana, this is Stan.
Yes, sir.
Hey, just a quick question. Are you going to, hold on, let me rephrase, let me think about it for a little bit more.
Okay, that was a great question.
I think I know the answer, but I'll get back with you.
Yes, sir. If you've got questions, you can unmute. You don't have to type them in the chat.
Hi, Dana.
Yes, Ben.
This is Ben. Yeah, the part 1 test is all we have to take. It says I have 1 day remaining.
You do have to take the part 1 and the test should be open until March 1st.
It says, yeah, so we're not in a Kansas City rush for that one, right?
No, I mean, get it done. The sooner the better, because what ends up happening
Right.
is everybody waits until the last minute and then Arbiter explodes.
The part two test up on top, it says that it doesn't have take test.
Part 2
but-
is only
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you fail part 1 and you want to improve.
Part 1 closes
All
on
right.
the 15th of March.
Yeah, so we need to take it before then, right?
Yes, and don't wait until 11 o'clock the night before because you're going
No.
to have a hard time getting it in.
Yeah, no, what I was asking Nate earlier is whether I had paid or not, but when I looked at my picture, there was a little icon under it with a football and I hovered over it and it said that I was okay.
Yeah, it said 2021 registration was complete.
It just showed the football and it said that I was in.
Yeah, I would go to your registration link like I showed in the demonstration and scroll down to completed
down to what?
registrations. Completed registrations.
Okay,
Okay.
And part-
yeah, I
part
missed
2 test-
that part. I missed that part.
Sorry, part 2 test is pending. It's not open because it doesn't open until part 1 closes.
Dana,
Yes,
I saw on the schedule, I think, in the state clinic or district clinic in 2 weeks or something like that.
district clinic. Yep, it's on the 26th, I think.
Okay,
And that'll be coaches and officials. If the governor does not give the green light, I don't know if we're going to still have coaches, but we will have something for officials that night. So,
all right, good.
Hey, Dan, it's Corey.
hey, Corey.
Hey, quick question here. So once we get, into the playing season, what are we expecting to see as far as the environment? As far as participants, are we going to have parents? I mean, I've seen it through other states on various, people in the stadium. So can you kind of give us an idea of what we're going to be seeing?
Nope, because I don't know. That's another COVID thing. And as soon as Sally gives us those competition guidelines, everybody will know. But all of that is dependent on what the governor decides. So I don't know if there will be fans. I don't know what the sidelines will look like. The only thing I know is if we play, we'll have 2 teams and 4 or 5 officials, and everything aside from that will be a surprise. So that's all that we know. So once Sal, like I said, if the governor gives us the green light, we will get the information out to all of you with regard to how that will look.
Gotcha.
Hey, Dana, is Sally going to meet with all the officials for football, like she did, when all this started?
If we are going to have a season, I'll make sure that she has a COVID meeting with you all. And she'll probably just do all sports, so that way it's not just football. She'll do everything at once, just out of respect for her time, which I know she doesn't have a whole lot of right now. So
Thank you.
Hey,
You're
so
welcome.
rule books. Okay, rule books are packets are completed. If you are a group leader, send me an email tonight or tomorrow morning, letting me know if you have somebody available that can pick them up. If not, no problem. We'll mail them. We're just trying to save a little money. I know that the Southwest region is already taken care of. The Central is obviously going to be taken care of because they can come by the office. So if you're in the Northwest, Northeast, or Southeast, just let me know if you want me to mail them, and I'll get them out to the home address of the group leaders.
I have a question.
yes.
I'm brand spanking new. This is actually my first interaction.
You're welcome.
So
Welcome to the family.
what do I need to do now? I checked my registration to make sure that I was registered. How do I find out who my assigner is and leader, or what do I need to do? Or can someone contact me privately? Or
Sure. What city are you in, Philip?
I'm in Albuquerque.
Okay, so you will be hearing from Steve Wagner or Antonio Lujan. One of them will be contacting you with regard to local association stuff. And then next Wednesday, you'll want to make sure you attend the Future Veterans meeting. That'll take place at 7:30. That'll give you a really good overview of what happens after you joined up with us. So be on the lookout for that. Steve, Antonio, if you guys are on, please make sure you reach out to Mr. Otero so we can get him up and running.
You got it, Phil.
Thanks,
Thank
Steve.
you.
And there's Steve. Hi, Steve. And yes, welcome to the officiating family. We may be dysfunctional at times, but we're a family nonetheless, darn it.
Cool. Thanks, Dwayne. Just
Hey,
let me know
Dana.
tomorrow.
Yes, who's talking?
Yeah, this is Larry. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, this is Larry Bernardo.
Hi,
I've
Larry.
always been having problems signing in on Zoom with this computer I got from the school. So I'm on my phone. I just want to let you know I am attending from the beginning.
Okay, I'll make sure I go in right now and change your phone number to a name so that way we give you credit and I'm not trying to track down whose phone number this is.
Dana,
Hey, Dana,
my name's Terry Chamberlain, and I'm from El Paso. Are you there?
Hi, Terry.
Yes, this is my first year being with your association. I've already registered. I've already taken the test. I have 18 years experience doing high school football in the state of Texas. And I was just recently finished being a Division I representative on El Paso's board. And I'm wondering, do you need any documentation showing my experience or a letter or anything like that?
Yes, sir. If you could get us something from your previous state association or local secretary, depending on how they did things, just stating your years of service, what positions, what levels you worked, and that way we have it for our record and you don't have to restart from the bottom. And then it'll also give your assigner some idea as far as your level on the field. And that could just be
I can do
emailed.
that.
Yep,
Okay,
so
I
just
can
shoot
do
it
that.
via
Thank you.
email and we'll get you taken care of.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Terry. Let's see. So there's a couple of other questions coming up. Do we have a date set for us to know if there is a season or not? The answer to that would be next week. So the governor's meeting will happen tomorrow. We'll be having an emergency board meeting at some point next week, and then that'll be when we have a determination as far as football season. So rolling right away from that, I've had a lot of questions about what happens to your dues if we don't have a season. So if the season is canceled, we'll send everybody an email and give you the option of if you want a refund or if you want it rolled over to next year. So don't do anything with that until we send the email. So because what ends up happening is I say that and then we get a bunch of emails of, if we cancel, please refund my dues. I don't want it right now. So just wait until we email you. Don't call us, we'll call you. It's one of those situations. And our NMOA football mechanics manuals open or available? Yes, they are. I had to look to Nate for a nod and he'd say yes, because I can't remember.
Okay, Ken Alderson, if you're still on, I apologize. You came by and I was like, oh no, you have the correct mechanics manual. You actually had the old one. So I'll make sure you get one.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, that was my fault. Dana and I were a little confused. This year's throwing us off a little bit on what's coming out and what's not.
And basically in every way, it's confused us. So we're managing, we're trying to figure it out.
Hey, so I have a quick question, reference to the district clinic. So I will be working during the clinic, so I will try to sign on. In case I miss some things, is there a way I can review the clinic again, just to watch it?
Of course. So that's a great question, because we've had a lot of questions about if you can't make one of our meetings, what happens. We actually record all of these. So if you miss one because you've got to work or you have a family commitment or you're sick or you just don't feel like being on, but we hope it's not the last one, they are all recorded. You can watch them, but you do have to do an assignment. So it's better if you can attend live, but if you can't, we do have a makeup available for you. And what'll happen is, like tomorrow, Nate will send the link to the video out to everybody. So if you want to review it, you can, but if it's people who aren't on, he'll send them the link with an assignment to complete.
Yep.
So will we be credited for, like, for example, I will actually come on to the meeting, but I'm a cop. So just in case I got pulled away to a call or anything, I need to log off. I can come back on, but if I miss some particular things with that, would I have to do an assignment after that or no?
So if you're on for 30 minutes logged in consecutively, you get credit.
Okay.
So I don't know if that helps, if that answers the question, but if you're logged in for any of the meetings for more than 30 minutes, you're getting credit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your service, Robert.
Yeah. We're at 7, so if you guys want to log off, if there's anybody else that wants to ask questions, yeah.
I do want to say real quick, thank you to everybody for being football officials, and thanks this year, excuse me, for your patience and for staying light on your feet. I know this has been a real pain in the neck, and we appreciate you all sticking with us. And in talking to many of you, I know that everybody just wants to get back out on the field, and that's where we want you to. So we appreciate your service. We appreciate what you do for student athletes in this state. And you know, we're trying our best to keep you as engaged as we can without football, but our preference would be to have you out working. So if there's anything you need this season, you know how to get a hold of Nate and myself. Please always feel free to reach out, either email. I'm a big texter. I'm sometimes easier to get a hold of on text than I am on phone, just because I'm usually doing one of these meetings or I'm on the phone. So text is usually a good way to get a hold of me. And you know, anything you need, we're here to serve you, and we'll keep you as apprised as we can with what's going on, if we get a green light or red light or otherwise. So as Nate said, if you've got questions and you want to stick around, please feel free to. We'll hang on for a few minutes. If you have no questions and you don't want to hear any other questions, you can log off now. But thank you everybody for your participation and for everything that you do.
Thanks, Dana.
Wanted to say hi.
Hi, Sammy.
Todd, I got your books out. I'll send your books out, Todd.
Nate, did you say the Central Association officials can pick up the books at the office?
No, you'll work with probably Jake Vandergeest. He usually picks up the books. Steve, you might be able to clarify that. But
Yeah, I'm going to send a message out in the next couple of days. We're going to probably have two opportunities that we'll have books available, Jake and I, to meet you guys. We're talking about meeting at the Sandia High School parking lot. And I'll get those dates out here. Jake and I'll talk about that tomorrow probably. And I'll try to get a message out. Sorry, my dogs are getting carried away. Anyway, so we'll get that out and we'll have those books available. We'll set two different pickup days, one a weekday and one a weekend.
Hey, Nate.
Yeah.
Is there a way as a group leader we can see who of our group is missing? Does that make sense versus looking at everybody, or are you just going to send a list so we can kind of break it out?
Yep. So what I'm going to do, thanks for asking. What I'll do is I will compile a list that has the last possibly 2 years previous registered officials, and you can compare it to what's current. Will that work? All right, cool. I'll work on that tomorrow.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it, man.
Nate, will you be in the office tomorrow to be able to pick up the central books?
Can you, sorry, Jay, can you give me till tomorrow afternoon-ish?
Yeah, you tell me when. I'll meet you there.
About 2 o'clock.
Okay.
Perfect.
That'll work.
And then Jake, when you get there, you'll have to call Nate because our building is still closed to the public.
Yep.
So it's locked.
Okay. Sounds good.
I mean, Nate and I are there every day, but it's just locked. Any other questions from our awesome officials?
Oh, hi, Dana. I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I sent you guys an email because I was having trouble getting logged on in the very beginning. So I wasn't able to get logged in until about 6:40. Nate was saying that we had to be logged on for 30 minutes to get credit. So I didn't meet that 30 minutes because I was having trouble logged in. So what do I need to do with that?
Nate will be sending a link and an assignment for you to get credit.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Todd.
Huh?
Anybody else?
Hey, Dana, just thought I'd give you a little update for track. Our board of directors may have a meeting tomorrow night, depending on what the governor says. But we need an update on track officials if whatever ends up happening.
Okay, if you can email me about that, that would be great.
I will. I'll do that tomorrow.
That'd be great. And yes, Wednesdays will be the regular meeting day except for the district clinic. So that'll be on a Tuesday night. All the other meetings are on Wednesdays. All right, we'll stay on a couple of more minutes if you've got questions. I know, Brad, I did call it. This is awful. Not a good start to the hockey season.
We'll see you later. Goodbye.
I knew that was going to happen. Bye. Thanks, David. No Taves, no Doc, and a goalie that I've barely even heard of.
Oh, Subban's been around for a while. He was with Vegas.
I know, but
He did a lot of stuff with alternating with Vegas. So
He's
yeah,
not-
they have a new for fighting. Fist in front of the body.
Oh,
Both
weird.
fists in front of the body for fighting.
Dana, I did have one
He's no
question.
Cody Crawford. Yes, sir, Dan.
You said that there will be two meetings, the future veterans and this meeting, and we get credit for either one of them?
Correct.
Or both.
Or both.
Or both.
Yeah.
Okay, I have an obligation at 6:30 on Wednesday nights normally, but I should be able to make that second one for sure. But I will definitely be doing the assignments for the original one.
Awesome. Yeah, just let us know if you need anything from us.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.
Hey Dan, did you register for Battlefields and Ball Fields? If you haven't, do it. Look up
So
Battlefields and Ball.
I attempted to register for Battlefields to Ball Fields last year, but the problem was I've previously in another state officiated soccer, so they said I was not eligible for any of the scholarships there.
Oh,
But this is your first year in football, right? You've never done football before?
I did football in Clovis last year, but
You
I
should be
when I
eligible
tried to
for
apply.
football.
When I tried to
Try
apply last
again.
year, they said no.
Oh, try again because he changed his
Do me a favor, Dan.
he
Send me an
changed it up
email.
a little bit. He's accepting a whole lot more.
Yeah, shoot me an email and I'll check it with Pereira and see what's going on, because we were told that if it's your first year in a new sport, you are eligible. So I think they screwed up. So if you can email me, I'll get on the ball with that right away.
I appreciate that,
I'll yell
Dan.
at Mike. I have no issue with that.
Thank you very much.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Bye. Oh, my.
Hey, Dana, do you happen to know what the governor's specific concern with the gators are? If it's like the layering or what, or?
Then it's not a double layer would be my guess, but we don't really have those answers.
Yeah, because I know like the Fox 40 gator that they sell, that's a double layered one. So
I don't know what her thought process is. So yeah, I got nothing for you. I just know she has very specifically said no gators, no bandanas, unless you wear them over a mask. I know, Jason. The look on your face is like exactly how mine is. So. Bye, Ty. See you in about 22 minutes.
Yeah.
Any other questions from our remaining officials?
Yes,
So
Nate, Dana.
Yeah. What's going on, Bill?
Yes, you mentioned that you're going to get a deciding point from the governor tomorrow. What is you think that's going to be the outcome for this coming season?
No clue.
No clue.
The meeting is tomorrow. We have an emergency board meeting next week, so we won't.
Okay.
We probably won't have any idea until about next Thursday. But I couldn't.
Okay.
I mean, I couldn't even begin to venture a guess at this point with what's going on with the governor.
Okay. Good.
Sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
It's out of our hands.
Hey, we're just the officials world. We're out of the loop.
We're just going to keep going as if we're business as usual with the officials world, aside from the lack of games and all. But
Hey, this is Steve Wagner again. And if you're in the AFOA group and you're new to the group and you haven't received emails from me, then I need to fix that because I do send out quite a few emails. And I will sync up my list with Nate's latest list. I haven't done that yet. Once I do that, I think there may be a half dozen of you out there that haven't heard from me yet. So I'll get that done probably tomorrow. And you'll be hearing from me when, we'll talk. I'll let you know about the local meetings and everything there. Our meeting, all of us will have local meetings, all the regions next Wednesday at this time. So Dana will send that invite out. So
Steven, I'll send out and I'll update the list again tomorrow, just in case anybody registered in the last couple of days.
Okay,
so
perfect.
I'll send all of you an updated list tomorrow morning.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
all right, it looks like we're dwindling as far as numbers and questions, so we're going to go ahead and log off for the evening. And if you think of something after we log off, just shoot us an email and we'll be glad to help you out best we can. But thank you guys for hanging on and hanging in, and we hope to be able to work with you a little more actively this year. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.